Alright, y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
You saw us eating pineapples?
Yeah. You do that.
How do we look though? I like the new carpet, by the way.
Oh, you noticed?
I did not notice.
I was gonna say something, but I'm like, you know what? Let me just. If they don't notice, then they don't appreciate me. But
notice what?
You bought it?
The carpet.
nah, I took it from right there. This is our snow carpet.
Look at that.
Yeah. I gotta start. Alright, I'm ready when you are.
Alright, hold on now. My lips is dry.
See, how long can we get this done?
We're gonna get this done in 20 minutes. So we're gonna be done by 10:05. That's 20 minutes, right?
Nope, that's
How much is that?
That's 23 minutes.
You do kind of like gotta be warm when you're welcoming people in.
Nah, this is shit. I'm about to give them full-blown serious, man. Fuck that.
My throat's dry.
She took that shot.
Want some water?
You got water in that cup?
No.
She wants a shot. I'm ready.
Yeah, I think she needs some water.
I do. My throat's kind of parched.
Fine.
My throat is
Always
kind
asking,
of
how can I
parched.
help? Always asking, how can I help? How can I be any help?
Alright, guess I'm just gonna show with a dry throat and a dry cotton ass mouth.
Yeah, see, you messing up the quality of our show.
Not when y'all talking to me like that, y'all ain't getting nothing.
We apologize.
If you don't get my water, I will post this on YouTube. I swear to you.
Post what?
This that he's recording.
That's fine.
This is going on YouTube.
Anna, can you please get her a glass of water? I know she's being a diva right now, but
You started it, Cap. Didn't get that damn camera on my face.
Hey, you got a brush, bro? Hey, you got a brush?
yeah, I do.
See,
Hey, Anna,
everybody
Pierre. Now we gonna need Anna to do it. How let Anna work?
Wait, where's that?
I'm not getting paid for this.
You were just talking about people volunteering their services.
None of us
Is
get
this
paid
tap
for
water or spring water?
this. And I think that's mine. You got that for the table out there, right? You got that for the table right there.
No. You guys are being annoying.
We ain't never gonna get this done.
You talk too much when it comes to the relevant stuff. You don't talk enough. We ain't talking tough, it's all fat. Try to hear that? You come on with us. Yeah, that's a must. Any topic that we won't discuss. Everything we touch can't get no realer. Paint a vivid picture, use no filter. What's the word on the street? This ain't talking, it's cheap. But get one thing, real talk boy preach. So you don't walk around like the lost on the sheep. Man, it's so 4D. It's so 4D. So 4D. So 4D. Yeah. Shit. Yeah, so 4D, so you know what that mean? Well, if you don't get hit, we ain't got flashlights, but we lit. We rockin' with Cat, Matt, Candace.
Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Candace and I'm here with Matthias and Adtuwne and we are open for discussion.
Chip.
Every time that.
Every time.
On today's show, we will be discussing police brutality and all of the rioting that has been happening in Baltimore surrounding the death of Freddy Gray. So what we know about Freddy Gray is that he was 25 years old. He was arrested on April 12th for undisclosed reasons after fleeing from the police by foot. He died 1 week later from spinal injuries, according to a lawyer for his family. As of right now, autopsy reports have not come back, and the police have not yet said anything as to how Mr. Gray was injured during the arrest. But those officers are currently on administrative leave, and that whole thing is still under investigation. But since the day he died, people of Baltimore have been protesting, but on the day of his funeral, something somewhere went left, and the peaceful protesting turned into a riot. So that's what I kind of want to talk about today. So is the rioting that has and is taking place for Freddy Gray, or do you think it has evolved into something bigger than him?
I'll take this one. I think that it started off as something that was, positive and something that was meant to, bring awareness to what's going on. But I think it just evolved into something even crazy. Like, I saw the other day someone was trying to promote his mixtape, in the midst of the coverage that was going on.
Do you think it's still about his murder, or do you think people are just frustrated?
I know it's about his murder because it happened after his murder, it happened after his funeral, so there's no debate about what it's about. But we have to be aware that, just like Matt said, people are going to abuse the opportunity that is, happening. Like, everybody's going to be on camera, so yeah, somebody's going to promote their mixtape, but the reason why they even have the opportunity to promote their mixtape is Freddy Gray.
Right, but do you think they're using his death now as an excuse to just act crazy and be burning down buildings?
No, I think what we dealing with is frustrated people. What we dealing with is people like, alright, what's going on is, like, Freddy Gray was killed by police officers. Most police brutality happens in poverty-stricken neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? So these people are frustrated regardless. It doesn't take a cop killing a kid for these people to already be on edge. So a cop killing the kid, that has these people still on edge. But when it continuously happens and nothing's being done about it, that's just the fingertip that pushes them over the edge. So what they're doing, I don't agree with it, but at the same time, I get it. Like, I won't criticize them for what they're doing.
Do you agree with it, Matt?
Agree with like
the rioting and the decisions these people have made?
No, I don't really. I mean, I guess I can understand people's frustration, but I just don't understand the need to like burn down a building or you know, loot local businesses. It kind of just doesn't make any sense to me. It kind of seems like the mission went way left instead of, you know, being about what it's really about. Like, if you're gonna ride out because you know, someone was killed by a police officer, at least do it the right. I feel like you gotta do it the right way. If you like ride out because you know, let your actions be right versus, you know, like running into a liquor store to grab some Henny bottles.
So what is the right way to, you know, get the message out there to let your voice be heard? Is it peaceful protesting? Is it going into these buildings and talking to the mayor and the governor and the commissioner? Like, what is the right thing to do?
I don't know what the right thing to do, because we done seen peaceful protesting not work, and we done seen rioting not work. Like, you know, we saw people fight back and it didn't work. We saw Martin Luther King say, you know what, let's be peaceful, and that didn't work. And, you know, Malcolm and Martin, and they both ended up dead. So I don't know what the right situation is. You know, maybe it's better police training, and you know, I'm a big advocate of hiring police officers that actually live in the community. So maybe that's the way, but I don't know how we're going to prevent this from happening long term.
Several months ago, Mike Brown was killed by a police officer, and there was rioting that happened in Ferguson as well. I feel like this riot in Baltimore has way more media coverage than the riot in Ferguson. What do you think the difference is between the two?
The difference between the two, I don't really think there is a difference between the two. I just think both of them, they rioting for a purpose, and that's way different. I think the media coverage for this doesn't have to do with the actual murder. I think the media coverage for this is actual justification for why we're getting murdered. So people who's not in these communities where we're being targeted, like, they don't understand. They're looking at the news like, why is this going on? You know what I'm saying? So that's why the media puts out these images of us looking like animals and looking like savages, so that the people who aren't here in the community, they can look at that and say, okay, I get it. That's why they're being murdered.
What do you think their mission is, the people in Baltimore? Like, they keep saying they want their voice to be heard, but what is the mission? Like, is this rioting going to be effective? Is it going to change anything?
I feel like the mission in Baltimore is to make the people who matter in this country, make them uncomfortable. We've been in the same position for years, and we're going to be in the same position because we don't matter. So it's like they're not going to change anything for us as long as we don't matter. So if we're feeling uncomfortable, we make the people who matter uncomfortable. Something has to be forced to change. These people who matter, they're going to force them to change. They're like, yo, I can't get to work because of this is going on. I can't enjoy baseball games because this is going on. I can't go shopping because this is going on. Y'all have to do something. That officer who's responsible for these murders, y'all have to do something to that person so that I can go back to being comfortable.
I think the mission in Baltimore and you know, nationwide is to stop officers from killing people, regardless of what they did. The mission is to not have death be your punishment for whatever it is you did.
Do you think we won't hear about any more police killings for a while because of what's happening right now?
No. you're going to hear about it. It's been going on for so long. It's just, you know, now this is like the hot thing that the media is gravitating towards. So it's going to happen. Like, I mean, think about how often this has happened in the past 3 years. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I'll say 5, 6, 7 years ago, this type of, nobody was talking about, you heard about it, but nobody was talking about it. But now it's like every time it happens, I mean, granted, it's getting on, you know, people are catching it on video, but now it's the thing to talk about. So it's gonna keep happening.
And that's why I think, like you said, a change will be forced, because it can't keep happening. Like, there'll be riots everywhere if this keeps happening. People are going to be so frustrated. They're going to be angry. And that's why I agree that officers will start making better decisions based off the things that have happened in the last several months.
I feel like we are going to continue to see police killings, because if you think about it, like Matt said, this happens all the time. So if this was, like, this is just a trendy thing that's going on right now. So my point is, in LA, the LAPD is a gang, just as notorious as the Crips and Bloods. So LAPDs kill civilians and thugs on the regular, but we don't hear about it because it's so normal. Like, if for example, if we watch the news and they talk about killings in the hood every day, then that whole news hour is going to be about killings in the hood. Like, they're going to have time to talk about other stuff. So what I think, honestly, is reason why they are starting to promote and blast all of these killings online and in the media is because there's an agenda. And that agenda is to create, like, these riots. They're manipulating these riots in order for them to enforce martial law.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to what, like, the mission. Like, if the mission is to just bring awareness to what's going on and to prevent it from happening again, then why is the media only showing you the negative stuff of what's happening?
Yeah, because I did hear that while all the rioting was going on, there were like 10 different peaceful protests that were happening at that same exact time that the media was not covering.
Yeah, so, you know, it just goes to show you, like Cap said, it's an agenda. Like, show the peaceful protesters. Like, I'll be checking out different websites, and I saw a picture of people standing in front of the police officers to protect the police officers. You know, I saw a picture of a little boy giving water to some of the police officers, but you won't see that on the news, you know, because they don't want to show you that there's actually positive things that are coming out of the situation.
As a black man, both are black, as black men, when
one darker than the other.
One darker than the other. When you come home and you turn on your TV and you see that another black man was murdered by the police, describe the emotions that you're feeling when you see that.
That's equivalent to watching these slave movies that come out once a year. I can't watch a slave movie because all it does is makes me angry. I don't get slave movies. Like, why do I want to watch that when I know what happened? That shit just makes me angry. It doesn't motivate me or anything like that. So when I hear about this and when I see this footage of people that look like me getting murdered, getting beat up and shot for nothing, that just makes me angry.
Does it make you want to turn a blind eye to it? Like, you don't want to see it? Because it was hard for me to watch that video of them dragging him in the car because you could hear him screaming and
like he's not an animal.
Right.
But they treated him like an animal.
When I hear about it, it frustrates me that this type of stuff can actually happen. But I mean, this sounds crazy, but I'm just not surprised by it. I know how this goes. Like, you're not showing me nothing. I'm not in shock or nothing. And then from my own personal experiences, I see, you know, how things could, you know, thank God it didn't happen, but I can see exactly how things could have went way left if, you know, one person's actions would have been a little different.
So do either of you believe that black men are purposely being targeted?
You want to tell you?
Oh, man, I don't want to believe that we're being targeted, but what else can I believe? You know what I mean? Like,
why do you believe that?
Alright, in my personal experiences, from stories I've heard, it's just like, you know, I don't know how many times I get pulled over for no reason. And I'll be walking down the street and, you know, the police officer will come up and be like, oh, what are you guys doing? Or like I remember last summer we just finished playing basketball and the police officers pulled up to us and were like, we heard a bike got stolen. Did you guys steal it? It's like, what do you mean did we steal a bike? Like,
do you think if that was a group of white men, they would not pull up?
No, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen.
Even if the bike was stolen in that area and the only group of men there were white, you don't think they would have?
It would have never happened. I don't believe it would have. I think they're purposely. I have no reason to believe that they're not purposely targeting us because I see it happen all the time. And you know, in my personal experiences, you know, I've heard white cops use the N-word. It's like, if you're not purposely, no matter what I did, no matter what you pulled me over for, what's the need to use the N-word? You're purposely trying to get a reaction out of me so that something happens. And if that's not targeting, I don't know what it is.
I don't think we're purposely being targeted. I think what the police are doing is they're targeting these poverty-stricken areas. It's just that it's a coincidence that we fill up these poverty-stricken areas.
That is what I was going to say. All of these things happen in poverty-stricken areas where there are
it's just us.
Why when I'm in Newton I get pulled over?
Yeah, well, you're right. You're right. You're right. Yo.
Why when you go to a predominantly white neighborhood and you see and the police mess with you, what do you do? The first thing on your mind is when you go to a predominantly white neighborhood, you say to yourself, I can't act up because I know the police are gonna fuck with me. That's the first thing on your mind.
Yeah.
When I drive through Newton, I think to myself, if the police pull me over, they're gonna do some fuck shit.
You're right, man. I feel like they target the class, but we fill up the lower class. You know what I'm saying? So to be politically correct, everybody wants to hear, no, black people aren't targeted. But we are targeted at the same time because, like, we fill up the poverty-stricken areas, man. But, yo, Matt, like what you said was crazy. Like, if we're in a part of town that we ain't supposed to be in...
All right, I got a good follow-up question to that because all day I've been asking people, are you afraid of the police now because of everything that has happened? Do you think police are afraid of black people? Do you think white police officers are afraid of black men?
I feel like without the badge, they're petrified. They're terrified of black men. But with that badge, that gives them a boost of confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so you think it's a power trip? It's
a power trip because they know that we can't act as tax-paying citizens to them. We can't speak to them as tax-paying citizens, just like any other tax-paying citizen will speak to them. We have to watch our tone because we could get killed. Some of these police officers have hate towards us before they was even police officers. So that badge just gives them the right in their minds to express that hatred and kill us just like we're nothing.
Are either of you afraid of the police?
I have a fear of not coming home to see my daughter and not coming home to see my moms or my roommate or whatever.
Because of the police?
Yeah, like, for example, being pulled over for a traffic light could easily end up in you either being killed or sent to jail. Easy traffic light stop.
I'm not afraid, but I do get a little nervous.
Okay.
But I ain't scared.
So explain to me a situation or a run-in you had with a police officer that you thought was unfair.
I was with a friend one day. It was minor, but just to express the differences. I was with a friend one morning. He was going to look at an apartment. We had to be there at a certain time. So we turn onto a street or whatever, and we get pulled over. And the cop comes up. He says, "You know why I pulled you over?" I said, "I don't." And he said, "You ran that red light." Okay, license, registration. I give it to him. Now this is a traffic stop, but he starts asking about drugs and weapons. Is there any drugs in the car? Is there any weapons in the car? No, officer.
Is that not normal protocol?
If I'm getting pulled over for a traffic light and you don't smell no marijuana or anything, why would you bring up drugs? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I look like a drug dealer?
I'm just wondering. Like,
yeah, no, I understand that. That's what I'm saying. I have the same question to him. And then I'm the driver, but he's asking the passenger for his information, his ID. Remember, we're only being pulled over for a red light. Why is the passenger required to give you his ID? He's not driving. You know what I'm saying? And then for you to ask if you could search the car? For what? No, not for a red light. No, I'm sorry, officer. So my thing is, I've been around people, taxpaying citizens such as myself.
He wanted to search the car.
He wanted to search the car.
And you did not let him?
No.
Okay.
But I've been around taxpaying citizens who don't look like myself, who talk to the officers as taxpaying citizens. But the thing is, my point is, my friend knew his rights. He knew he didn't have to give him his identification and all that. But to prevent us from going through something and giving that officer a reason to like put us through something, he easily gave him over his identification and everything like that. My point is, we have rights, but we aren't allowed to exercise our rights just like any other taxpaying citizens. We fear like being pulled over by the cops more than someone of the dominant society being pulled over with fucking 50 tons of drugs in their trunk. You know what I'm saying? Because if we say the wrong thing, we could possibly get killed, and we've seen that.
We're going to wrap up the show with this question because I think it's a very important question because there's a lot all over the news right now regarding everything we've been talking about. So what effect do you think this media coverage is having on people?
I think it's ruining people's, you know, perception of black people.
Very true.
I see the word thug being thrown around, and it's like we can't call them the N-word, so let's just call them thugs. So I think like, you know, you portray a certain group of people out to be like savages, and if you don't live near black people, if you don't know any black people, your perception is just going to be, this is how they all act. And you know, you're going to see whatever you see. So if you see them in rap videos, if you see them on TV just acting a fool, you know, whatever image they show you, you're going to think that that's how everybody acts. So when you know, talk to someone, and you actually show them how intelligent you are, you say, oh wow, I didn't know you were.
You know, Matt, that's a great point that you make, because when you're watching the news, the only thing they put on the news is ignorance. Like I saw a news report where the woman they interviewed, clearly something wasn't right with her, and she kept saying like she had to use the bathroom. And they kept interviewing her the whole time. She's like, I gotta use the bathroom, I have to use the bathroom. And she used the bathroom on herself. And it's like, this is the stuff that they're putting on TV to portray black people as. And people who don't really know black people like that are just gonna look at them and think that's how they all are. And it's always like, not to be mean or rude, but they're always interviewing ignorant people.
If they do interview an educated person, they ain't gonna make the broadcast or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, just like to piggyback on what both of you all said, it's all about perception, and that's what the media does.
Perception is reality for people.
So like for example, look at the riots that were made by look at the predominantly black riots. You have what happened in Baltimore, you have Ferguson, you have the LA riots, what was it, Watts back in the day, and then you have like the riots over Jesse, whatever, I forget his name, but all those riots was for a reason, right? And the perception is they put us on camera, Brian and Luna, oh, these are savages, right? But then you look at the riots that aren't predominantly black. Look at like the Kentucky versus Wisconsin
Sports
game.
Riots,
Sports.
right? Yeah.
Like cops prepare for riots, for sports. Like people riot over sports. But do you see these people known as savages and animals and thugs and criminals?
Right.
No, they're people having fun. Like people actually prepare for riots. You know what I'm saying? Like a woman lost her life when I was in high school when the Red Sox won a championship. She got shot in the eye with a pellet gun, was bleeding. The ambulance couldn't get to her because everybody's rioting, couldn't get through the crowd. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't hear anything about criminals and thugs, but we go out and nobody died or whatever. People might have got hurt, but yeah, CVS got burnt down. But we're savages, criminals, thugs.
It's actually really interesting because, you know, this stuff is happening and they only focus on how we're reacting to it. It's like, all right, I get the CVS burnt down. I get people are looting. I understand that. But let's not forget what the fuck is really happening.
Yeah,
like, people are dying, dog. Like, and that's not the way the focus is.
That's why I said, has this become more than Freddy Gray? Because are we forgetting that a man lost his life? I feel like they have completely threw that out the window and it's like, oh my God, a CVS is burning down.
That's the news. That's the headline.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's more important than Freddy Gray.
Yeah.
Like it's just all. It's a fucked up situation, man. But at the end of the day, it's the life we live. Like this is the media. Like that's how they portray us. Like that building, all that shit could be remade over. But the purpose is somebody's not coming back. He's dead forever. You know what I'm saying? But the story is that CVS.
I want to end with this point. Like I think it's really funny how many times has someone ever told you guys, "Oh, you speak very well."
I've been told,
you know,
I've been told I sound like a white person when I talk. I still don't know what that means till this day.
Success.
I guess so.
Anything you sound good at is being white. You know what I'm saying? If you know how to read, why you trying to be white though? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't understand that.
That's a whole nother show right there.
It's fucked up because, you know, like the perception that they see us on TV with is we're fucking ignorant. You know, we're unintelligent.
The men are ignorant, they're thugs.
Yeah, so then when you have a conversation with white people, they're always surprised by how intellectual you are. And it don't make no sense to me. Like, you believe the shit that you see on the news? Like, you see one black person and that person is representing all of us? They kind of like, that should be frustrating me, but you can see that it has an effect on how they're treating you. Like, their expectations of us is so low and so poor. It's like, how can we ever overcome that when the media is making us to seem like we're really savages?
Hey, I watched it. It's like, hey, what are you guys doing with the camera?
We're just doing a show on the rioting that's going on in Baltimore. We're trying to get some people to answer some questions. When you turn on your TV and you see that another black man was murdered by a police officer, what emotions are you feeling?
Sad. Very, very sad. Because there's no need for it.
It's obviously frustrating. Black people just as a whole just have like a sense of like defense, or just like you're not being protected by the police. As
a black man, do you fear the police now because of everything that has been happening?
Always did fear the police, but I always do what they say for that reason.
No, I don't really fear the police. I wouldn't say that I fear them, but it is definitely something for me to look out for. And my younger brothers, I'm the oldest of 5, and I have 3 younger brothers below me, so it is a little more scary. Just I don't want them to die, obviously.
How do you feel about the rioting that's been going on in Baltimore?
I think the rioting is ridiculous, but at the same time, it does send a message, you know, like people are paying attention now, so.
I think they have a right to be upset. I think the looting is not necessarily a positive thing. It's kind of like we're feeding into what they want us to do so they can have a reason to call us what they do call us.
I'm against the rioting 100%. I think there's more power if we had stick together. And I cringe when I see it because I think of Dr. Martin Luther King and everything that he stood for. And if we as a people stuck together, we'd be more powerful. You know, go to school, get an education, and bring each other up and put each other in positions like everybody else.
Now, do you think peaceful protesting would be more effective than the rioting?
No.
No. Why is that?
I don't believe they should be doing what they're doing now. I'd rather them do a peaceful protest than anything. But I think they should get into politics.
Exactly.
And get into places where their voices can be heard.
So, what solution do you think will stop all the police brutality?
I don't know. We probably have to go back to the basics. It starts in the foundation. It's not something that just happened out of nowhere. It's been happening for a while. If we continue to not address it, it's going to get worse.